A Human Rights Watch report released on Monday says the Burmese government is complicit in a campaign of ethnic cleansing targeting Rohingya Muslims in Arakan State. The report says local authorities helped forcibly displace thousands of Muslims in June and November last year. Local government officials and Buddhist monks encouraged Arakanese residents to coordinate attacks on the Rohingya.
There are no indications that the government has seriously investigated or attempted to hold accountable those responsible for planning, organizing, or participating in the violence. Government security forces either did nothing to stop the violence or participated in it. But they did oversee the digging of mass graves or perform the digging themselves in 4 areas that Human Rights Watch found.
The report says the authorities did little to stop the unrest.
So despite very clear warning signs of imminent and serious violence, and despite humanitarian and human rights implications of what was happening, the government authorities did nothing to intervene to stop it. Not only did they fail to intervene, but government security forces and authorities destroyed mosques, effectively blocked humanitarian aid to Rohingya populations, and at times acted alongside Arakanese to forcibly displace Muslims. And again, this was the period of time before the wave of violence in October.
The Rakhine Nationalities Development Party said the Rohingya have an agenda to take over Arakanese land. For the Rohingya, life in the camps is tough. Medical and food aid is severely lacking, and much of it is being blocked. The Rohingya cannot leave the camps. People here in Coconut Garden are going hungry, and disease will soon spread once the rainy season starts in a couple of months. But the RNDP says the Rohingya are getting aid and are even pretending to suffer to gain sympathy.
Muslim Kemdi Jaga, Turuga, Nine Kratati, Nine Kratanon, Topi, Badinati, Labos, and Bushige. Ture, Ture, Akuni Rata, the people, Maraba. Or the man. Now, Turo and the Tanguaza, Turo and Mandra, Dukaroni, and the Tamu Popo on Piatazo, she did it.
But in reality, the people are suffering. In Mingala, the Muslim quarter in Sitwe, people here are not considered IDPs and as a result are receiving less aid. Food supplies are running out and they've closed the medical centre because there is no more medicine. The report says during June and November, local government and Buddhist monks distributed pamphlets and anti-Rohingya propaganda, denying the existence of the Rohingya and calling for their removal from the country.
Rohingya amin Canada Bengali Kaladoye Nalong Intema Turoga Achempa Wadade Amir and Shinere.
Ong Min is from Mingala. He thinks the government exploited the distrust between the two communities.
This violence took place in this Rakhine area because government choose this area because they know very well different view and different mistrusts between the Rakhine and Rohingya. So they did very systematically this violence among the Rohingya and the Rakhine people.
Without aid, food or protection, hundreds of Rohingya are fleeing Arakan State in boats. Heading to Malaysia or Indonesia to escape the violence, many have drowned in the perilous waters. The Burmese government has rejected the human rights report as biased and says it will only listen to the findings of the investigation commission that was formed by the government to look into the Arakan crisis. It's due to give its results this week. With rainy season on its way, there are fears of a major humanitarian disaster.
Unfortunately, the situation is about to get much, much worse for the over 125,000 internally displaced persons in Arakan State, who are only weeks away from a major humanitarian disaster as the rainy season arrives. In fact, I think we could probably argue that the humanitarian disaster has already taken place. It's about to get much worse.
The rights group is calling for an independent international commission to investigate the crimes against humanity in Arakan State. The damning report comes just as the European Union prepares to drop more sanctions on Burma. For this stateless minority, the future looks bleak.